I didn't rebuild myself overnight. I didn't rebuild myself with shortcuts, secrets, or easy ways out. I rebuilt myself in the gym with sweat, with discipline, and with faith that every rep, every step, and every sacrifice was shaping me into someone stronger than the person I used to be. The weights don't just build your body, they rebuild your mind. Every time you push through the pain, every time you choose consistency over excuses, you're not just lifting iron. You're lifting yourself out of weakness, out of doubt, and out of the old version of you that once settled for less. The moment you decide to change, everything shifts. A single choice has the power to reshape the direction of your entire life. Many people underestimate this, but it is in that very moment, when you finally get tired of living below your potential, that the rebuilding process begins. It doesn't happen by accident, and it doesn't come from waiting. It starts with a conscious decision to no longer accept weakness, laziness, or excuses as part of who you are. That decision is the spark that lights the fire of transformation. Making the decision to rebuild yourself is like drawing a line in the sand. On one side is the old version of you, the one who gave in to distractions and comfort. On the other side is the new version you promised yourself you'd become. That line is clear, and once you step over it, there is no turning back. It is a declaration, not to others, but to yourself, that from this moment forward you are committed to becoming stronger, healthier, and more disciplined. This decision doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. You don't need to tell the world about it. It's not about posting on social media or shouting it from the rooftops. It's about quietly deciding in your heart that you will honor this commitment no matter what. The strongest decisions are often made in silence when nobody else is watching. Because when you truly decide, you don't need applause or approval. You just need the determination to follow through. The power of decision lies in its ability to give you clarity. Before deciding, you feel scattered, unsure, pulled in many directions. After deciding, everything becomes simple. You no longer waste time debating whether you should go to the gym or whether you should eat healthy. The decision has already been made. The only thing left is execution. That clarity removes the weight of hesitation and puts you on a straight path forward. A real decision also carries weight. It is not the same as wishing or hoping. People wish for change all the time, but wishing doesn't rebuild you. A decision is different. It comes with responsibility and accountability. Once you decide, you have to live with that choice every single day. It becomes the standard you hold yourself to, and it pushes you to rise above your old habits. The gym is one of the clearest places where the power of decision shows itself. There will always be days when it's easier to stay home, to rest, to avoid the struggle. But if your decision is real, you won't let those excuses win. You will remember the moment you decided to rebuild yourself, and that memory will push you through the door, onto the floor, and under the weight. That is the strength of a true decision. It speaks louder than your feelings. Every transformation story begins with this turning point. Nobody wakes up strong, disciplined, and fit without having first made the choice to change. You look at where you are, you face the reality of your condition, and then you decide that you will no longer settle for it. That choice separates the ones who only dream about change from the ones who actually live it. The beauty of this decision is that it belongs completely to you. Nobody can force it on you, and nobody can take it away from you. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your past looks like, or how many times you've failed before. The moment you decide, truly decide, the past no longer controls you. you set the direction for your future with one powerful choice. Decisions also create identity. Once you decide to rebuild yourself, you stop identifying as the person who skips workouts or eats carelessly. You begin to see yourself as someone disciplined, someone who trains, someone who respects their health. Your actions follow your identity, and the stronger your decision, the faster your identity shifts. Before long, the new you becomes natural because you already decided who you are going to be. That is the power of decision. It is the foundation of everything that follows. Without it, there can be no rebuilding, no transformation, no progress. Every rep, every workout, every meal, every drop of sweat stems from that one defining choice. It is the moment you say, "This is who I am now," and from that day forward, everything you do begins to align with the person you chose to become. Rebuilding yourself always begins with a vision, and that vision is shaped by the promise you make to yourself. This is not just about setting a random goal. It is about creating a mental picture of who you want to become and holding yourself accountable to it. When you make that promise, it becomes a contract between your present self and your future self. A bond that you must protect and honor no matter what obstacles come. Without vision, you move blindly, but with vision, every step you take has direction and meaning. A vision gives you something to chase when things get difficult. On the days when you feel weak, tired, or unmotivated, you remember the person you promised yourself you'd be. That image becomes a source of strength, pulling you forward when everything inside of you is telling you to stop. You begin to see beyond the momentary pain and focus on the bigger picture. And that bigger picture is what separates those who give up from those who rise. The promise you make to yourself is sacred. It is not something to take lightly, because every broken promise weakens your trust in yourself. If you say you will train, but you don't, you send a message to your mind that your word cannot be trusted. But if you consistently keep that promise, even in small ways, you build inner strength. Every kept promise reinforces the belief that you are someone who follows through, and that belief becomes the foundation for growth in the gym and in life. Vision also gives you clarity in the gym. Without it, workouts feel random, scattered, or purposeless. You lift weights without knowing why, and when the struggle comes, you easily quit. But with vision, every rep has a reason, every set has a direction, and every drop of sweat is connected to the bigger goal. You don't just train for the sake of training, you train with purpose, and that purpose is what keeps you coming back day after day. When you carry a vision, you stop comparing yourself to others. You no longer care about what the person next to you is lifting or how fast someone else is progressing, because your promise is personal. It is not about being better than anyone else. It is about becoming the version of yourself you envisioned when you first made that commitment. Comparison fades because the vision you chase is your own, and no one else can define it for you. The promise you make to yourself through vision becomes your internal compass. Life will throw distractions, temptations, and challenges your way, but when you have a clear promise, you always know which direction to go. You may stumble or slow down, but you never lose your way, because the promise you made acts like a guiding light, keeping you aligned with your goal. That clarity is priceless in a world full of noise and distractions. Vision also provides fuel for discipline. Discipline often feels difficult when there's no deeper reason behind it. But when your discipline is tied to a promise, it becomes easier to follow. You don't resist unhealthy food just because you should. You resist it because it does not align with the person you promised to become. You don't wake up early for the gym just because it's routine. You wake up because you are chasing a vision that requires it. The promise transforms discipline from a burden into a natural response. This vision gives you something to measure progress against. Without it, you might not notice the small wins, but with it, every improvement matters. When you promised yourself you would be stronger, lifting more weight than last month confirms you are honoring that promise. When you promised yourself to be healthier, every good meal proves you are fulfilling that vision. These little confirmations build momentum and remind you that you are on the right path. The promise you make through vision also brings resilience. You will face setbacks, injuries, and failures along the way. But instead of breaking down, you will remind yourself of the vision you committed to. That reminder gives you the courage to stand back up, to heal, to keep training, and to continue building. The promise gives you a reason to endure the struggle because you know you are working towards something greater than the pain of the moment. Above all, vision creates identity. You no longer just see yourself as someone who goes to the gym. You see yourself as someone rebuilding, someone honoring a commitment, someone chasing a clear promise. That shift in identity changes everything. Once you believe you are the person who keeps their word and lives out their vision, your actions will always align with that belief, and the rebuilding process becomes unstoppable. Rebuilding yourself requires embracing discomfort, because growth never happens inside the walls of comfort. The body does not adapt when it is unchallenged, and the mind does not expand when it is untested. Every time you push through the discomfort of lifting heavy, running longer, or training harder than you want to, you send a signal to yourself that you are stronger than your limits. This willingness to endure what feels uncomfortable is what separates transformation from stagnation. And those who accept the pain of discomfort are the ones who rise above average. Discomfort is not just about the weight on your shoulders in the gym. It is about the discipline you choose outside of it. Choosing clean food over unhealthy cravings is uncomfortable, but it builds discipline. Saying no to laziness when the bed feels too comfortable is painful in the moment, but it sharpens your willpower. Rebuilding yourself means creating a habit of stepping into discomfort with full awareness that it is shaping you into a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Every set and rep you complete in discomfort is not just building muscle, it is building character. The man who lifts through shaking arms and burning lungs learns that quitting is a decision, not a condition. When you endure discomfort, you prove to yourself that pain is not an enemy but a teacher. Each drop of sweat is a reminder that growth comes at a price, and the willingness to pay that price consistently is what forges lasting transformation. Discomfort strips away excuses because it exposes your true mindset. When things are easy, anyone can show up, but when the workout hurts, when your energy is low, when everything inside of you wants to quit, that is when you discover whether you are committed or casual. Those who embrace discomfort know that pain is temporary, but quitting makes it permanent. They learn to push past excuses, and in doing so, they build a version of themselves that no obstacle can easily break. Rebuilding yourself through discomfort also teaches patience. Pain does not give you results immediately. It gives you progress slowly, almost invisibly at first. But over time, the consistency of embracing discomfort compounds into visible change. Muscles that once refused to grow begin to shape. Strength that once felt impossible becomes natural, and endurance that once broke you down now fuels your performance. This patience built in discomfort spills into every other part of life, making you calm under pressure and steady in pursuit of goals. When you embrace discomfort, you stop being afraid of failure. Instead of fearing the burn, the fatigue, or the struggle, you begin to welcome them as signs of growth. You start to crave the feeling of pushing beyond yesterday's limits because you know discomfort is the language of progress. The same principle applies beyond fitness, whether in career, wealth, or personal growth. The one who embraces discomfort will always outlast the one who runs from it. Discomfort also sharpens focus. When the weights feel heavy and your body wants to stop, you must focus every ounce of energy on controlling your breathing, your form, and your willpower. This focus, developed under pressure, is the same focus that allows you to pursue excellence in every area of life. Rebuilding yourself is not about avoiding distractions. It is about training your mind to remain focused even when surrounded by pain, noise, and resistance. Through discomfort, you also learn humility. Pain reminds you that you are not invincible, that growth is a process, and that every step forward must be earned. It keeps you grounded, preventing arrogance and teaching you to respect the process. The discomfort you endure today makes you grateful for the strength you gain tomorrow, and that humility ensures you never take progress for granted. Discomfort becomes your ally when you recognize its purpose. Instead of running from the soreness, the fatigue, or the sacrifice, you learn to welcome them as part of the rebuilding process. Each challenge faced in discomfort is another layer of resilience added to your character. The stronger your relationship with discomfort becomes, the less fear controls your decisions and the more unstoppable your growth becomes. Ultimately, discomfort reveals the truth. You cannot rebuild yourself while clinging to comfort. The gym becomes the battlefield where you train your body, but it also becomes the classroom where you train your mind. Every time you choose discomfort, you are rebuilding the walls of discipline, the foundation of resilience, and the pillars of strength that hold your new self together. The process is not easy, but it is always worth it for the man who refuses to remain the same. Accountability is one of the most powerful tools when it comes to rebuilding yourself, because it forces you to measure your actions against the promises you made. In fitness, accountability means you no longer rely on empty words or vague intentions. You set a standard for yourself, and you make sure you meet it. It is not about perfection, but about honesty, facing the truth about whether you showed up, whether you gave your best, and whether you followed through on what you said you would do. Without accountability, it is easy to let days slip by, but with it, every day becomes a test of your commitment. Being accountable to yourself builds integrity. When you say you will wake up early to train, and you actually do it, you prove to yourself that your word has value. That small act of following through may not seem significant, but over time it creates an unshakable identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who always honors his commitments. This self-respect strengthens your confidence and makes it harder for you to accept mediocrity in any part of life. Accountability is how you start to rebuild trust with yourself. Accountability also sharpens discipline. Many people struggle in the gym not because they lack strength, but because they lack discipline. They make excuses, skip workouts, or train half-heartedly because nobody is watching them. When you build accountability, you no longer allow yourself to escape the responsibility of your choices. You remind yourself that the results you want require consistency and effort, and if you fall short, it is not circumstance. It is your own lack of discipline. That awareness forces you to tighten your habits and remove excuses. Sometimes accountability comes from having a training partner or coach. When someone else is invested in your progress, You feel the pressure to show up and give your best. You don't want to let them down, and that external accountability pushes you to go harder than you would alone. But the deepest form of accountability is internal, the voice inside you that refuses to let you quit. External accountability may push you for a while, but when you rebuild yourself, you must learn to hold yourself accountable regardless of who is watching. Accountability is also about tracking progress. Writing down your workouts, noting your nutrition, or recording your weight and reps creates a record that doesn't lie. You can't hide from the numbers. If you're improving, you'll see it. If you're slacking, you'll see that too. This transparency keeps you honest and prevents you from lying to yourself about how hard you're working. Rebuilding yourself requires facing the truth, and accountability through tracking is the mirror that shows whether you're truly progressing. When you build accountability, you also strengthen resilience. On the days you feel weak, accountability is what pulls you into the gym. On the days you feel like quitting, accountability reminds you that you made a promise. This repeated practice of honoring commitments, even when it's difficult, becomes the foundation of mental toughness. You stop relying on temporary motivation and start relying on the power of responsibility, which is far more reliable and sustainable in the long term. Accountability helps you eliminate distractions. When you know that every skipped workout or poor decision will count against the progress you promised yourself, you think twice before wasting time. It sharpens your focus and helps you prioritize what truly matters. Distractions lose their power when you realize that every wasted hour is a broken promise to yourself, and accountability will not allow you to tolerate that for long. Through accountability, you also build humility. It forces you to acknowledge when you fail instead of hiding behind excuses. Accepting responsibility for setbacks is difficult, but it is also freeing because it gives you control. If failure is your fault, then success can be too. Rebuilding yourself is not about avoiding mistakes, but about being honest enough to admit them, learn from them, and keep moving forward. Accountability transforms failure into a stepping stone instead of a dead end. Accountability connects fitness to every other area of your life. The discipline you build by holding yourself accountable in the gym will reflect in your finances, your work, and your personal goals. You begin to treat every promise you make, to yourself or others, with the same seriousness, and that consistency creates success beyond fitness. Rebuilding yourself is not just about your body. It is about creating a mindset of responsibility that impacts everything you do. At its core, accountability is a mirror. It reflects back the truth about who you are and what you're becoming. Some people avoid it because they don't want to face that truth, but those who embrace accountability understand that truth is the only foundation for lasting growth. You cannot rebuild yourself on illusions, on half-truths, or on excuses. You must rebuild on the solid ground of honesty, discipline, and responsibility, and accountability is the tool that ensures you never forget the standard you set for yourself. Recovery is one of the most overlooked aspects of rebuilding yourself, yet it is just as important as the training itself. Many people believe that progress happens only inside the gym when they are lifting heavy weights or pushing their limits. But the truth is that growth happens when the body rests, heals, and rebuilds. Every rep, every set, and every workout creates small tears in your muscles, and without proper recovery, those muscles cannot repair themselves to become stronger. Ignoring recovery is like pouring water into a cracked glass. It will never hold because the foundation is not fixed. When you allow your body to recover, you are not being lazy, you are being strategic. Rest days give your muscles time to heal, your joints time to decompress, and your nervous system time to reset. Without this reset, fatigue builds up and your performance declines, leading to burnout or injury. People who think recovery is optional often end up sidelined, unable to train for weeks because they pushed too hard without balance. Recovery is what keeps you in the game long enough to see the results of your effort. Sleep is one of the most powerful recovery tools available, and yet it is often sacrificed. While you sleep, your body releases hormones that repair muscle tissue, restore energy, and regulate metabolism. Skipping quality sleep weakens all of these processes, slowing progress and leaving you drained. No supplement, no workout plan, and no shortcut can replace the healing power of deep, consistent sleep. If you truly want to rebuild yourself, you must respect sleep as a critical part of the process. Nutrition is also a major factor in recovery. The food you eat after training provides the raw materials your body needs to repair and grow. Protein rebuilds muscle fibers, carbohydrates restore glycogen stores, and healthy fats support hormone balance. Without proper nutrition, your muscles cannot fully recover, and the energy you spent in the gym goes wasted. Rebuilding yourself is not just about lifting weights. It is about feeding your body what it needs to rebuild from the inside out. Recovery also involves active care for your muscles and joints. Stretching, mobility work, and foam rolling may not look as intense as lifting weights, but they are essential for keeping the body flexible, strong, and injury-free. Over time, tightness and stiffness build up in the body, reducing range of motion and increasing the risk of injury. By making recovery practices part of your routine, you ensure that your body can continue to perform at its highest level for years to come. Listening to your body is a key part of recovery. Some people believe that pushing through pain is a sign of strength, but true strength is knowing when to back off to prevent long-term damage. Sharp pain, lingering soreness, or unusual fatigue are signals that the body needs rest. Ignoring those signals is not toughness, it is carelessness. Rebuilding yourself requires wisdom, and wisdom means respecting the signals your body sends. Recovery is also mental. The gym demands focus and discipline, but without time to recharge mentally, even the strongest willpower can break. Taking time to rest the mind, meditate, or simply relax allows you to return to the gym with sharper focus and renewed drive. Mental recovery prevents burnout and keeps your passion for training alive. Without it, workouts turn into chores instead of opportunities for growth. The discipline of recovery also carries over into other areas of life. When you learn to balance work and rest in fitness, you begin to apply the same principle to your career, your relationships, and your goals. Pushing endlessly without balance leads to exhaustion, but strategic recovery creates sustainable growth. Rebuilding yourself means building a life that can be maintained over the long term, not just a short burst of effort that burns out quickly. Recovery also magnifies consistency. By taking care of your body and mind, you ensure that you can keep showing up day after day without being forced into breaks by injury or fatigue. This consistency compounds over time, allowing small efforts to build into massive results. People who neglect recovery may train harder in the short term, but those who prioritize recovery train longer and stronger in the long term. Ultimately, recovery is not the opposite of hard work, it is part of it. It is the unseen work that happens outside of the gym, the quiet process that ensures your effort is not wasted. It is the balance that allows you to push to your limits without breaking, the foundation that allows strength to be rebuilt again and again. Without recovery, effort collapses. With recovery, effort compounds. And in the journey of rebuilding yourself, it is recovery that allows all the pain, all the sweat, and all the struggle to transform into lasting growth. Discipline is the backbone of rebuilding yourself because it forces you to do what needs to be done, not just what you feel like doing. Motivation is temporary, it comes and goes, but discipline is permanent when you choose to build it. Every time you train when you don't feel like it. Every time you stick to your meal plan when temptations are calling. And every time you go to bed early instead of wasting hours. You are strengthening your discipline. Discipline is the invisible muscle that holds everything together, because without it, all other efforts eventually collapse. Discipline teaches you that success is not about doing things once in a while. It's about showing up repeatedly, regardless of the circumstances. When you rely only on emotions or hype, you will miss days, and those missed days turn into missed weeks. But when discipline is at the core of your fitness journey, you train even on the days when the fire feels dim. It is not about perfection. It is about never letting yourself drift too far off track. That's what separates those who transform themselves from those who keep restarting. Discipline in the gym is not only about lifting weights, but also about lifting the weight of consistency. It's easy to walk in once and train hard, but the discipline is in walking through those doors again and again until it becomes second nature. You don't argue with yourself about whether you should train or not, you simply go. That habit of showing up, no matter how you feel, is a discipline that rewires your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who works out sometimes and start seeing yourself as someone who trains no matter what. Discipline also extends to how you fuel your body. Eating the right food is not always exciting, but it is necessary. The discipline to choose clean, nourishing meals instead of junk is what accelerates progress. Anyone can eat clean for a week, but rebuilding yourself requires the discipline to keep eating clean for months and years. Every disciplined meal is a small victory that contributes to the larger transformation, even if it doesn't feel dramatic in the moment. Discipline shapes your environment. The people you surround yourself with, the routines you build, and the habits you allow all influence your growth. It takes discipline to cut off distractions, avoid negative influences, and surround yourself with people who elevate you instead of pulling you down. Rebuilding yourself means you must discipline not only your actions, but also your environment, so it becomes one that supports your goals instead of sabotaging them. Discipline is also about managing time. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but disciplined people use those hours differently. Instead of wasting time on meaningless distractions, they carve out time for the gym, for rest, for planning meals, and for recovery. Rebuilding yourself requires you to master your schedule, so that fitness and growth are not squeezed in when convenient but prioritized as a non-negotiable part of life. The beauty of discipline is that it doesn't rely on external rewards to function. Whether anyone notices your progress or not, whether you feel inspired or not, discipline drives you forward. It becomes your internal compass, keeping you steady even when the world around you feels chaotic. Rebuilding yourself means you cannot always rely on encouragement from outside. You must have the inner discipline that commands you to keep moving no matter what. Discipline also teaches you patience. Progress doesn't happen overnight, and without discipline, most people give up before results appear. Discipline keeps you steady during those early months when the mirror shows little change, when the scale barely moves, when the effort feels endless. It teaches you to trust the process and to keep stacking days of hard work until the results become undeniable. Discipline builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you prove to yourself that your word means something. This trust is what strengthens your belief that you can rebuild yourself fully, not just in the gym, but in every area of life. People who lack discipline constantly break promises to themselves, and that destroys self-confidence. But when you live with discipline, your confidence grows because you know you will do what you said, no matter the cost. Ultimately, discipline creates freedom. While it feels restrictive in the moment, choosing the gym over laziness, the healthy meal over junk food, the early night over endless scrolling, over time, that discipline gives you freedom in form of strength, health, energy, and confidence. Discipline may feel heavy today, but it makes life lighter tomorrow. Without discipline, you remain stuck in cycles of starting over. With discipline, you rebuild yourself into someone unshakable, someone capable, and someone who cannot be broken. Every person who steps into the gym will eventually face setbacks, and those setbacks test how serious you are about rebuilding yourself. There will be days when your body feels sore, when the weights feel heavier than usual, or when life throws unexpected challenges that disrupt your rhythm. These are not signs that you should quit. They are signs that you are being tested. The process of rebuilding is not about perfection, but about how you respond when things don't go according to plan. Setbacks are not the end, they are part of the journey that shapes your resilience. In fitness, setbacks often come in the form of injuries, fatigue, or slow progress. When you get injured or need to rest, it's easy to feel like you've lost momentum, but the truth is, setbacks can teach you patience and wisdom. Instead of rushing, you learn how to listen to your body and respect its limits. This respect keeps you moving forward in a smarter, stronger way. Rebuilding yourself isn't about ignoring setbacks. It's about using them as lessons that make your foundation stronger than before. There are also mental setbacks, those days when doubt creeps in. When you look in the mirror and feel like nothing has changed, when motivation runs low. These moments are dangerous because they whisper that your efforts are useless. But this is where rebuilding yourself really happens. By pushing through mental resistance, by showing up even when your thoughts are heavy, you train not only your muscles but also your mind. Overcoming mental setbacks builds the kind of strength that carries you through every other obstacle. Sometimes setbacks come from comparing yourself to others. You see someone lifting heavier weights, running faster, or looking leaner, and you start questioning your own progress. This kind of setback eats away at your focus because it shifts your attention from your journey to someone else's. Rebuilding yourself requires discipline to focus inward, to measure progress only against your past self, not against someone else's highlight reel. Each step forward is victory enough, no matter how small. There will also be setbacks caused by life outside the gym, stress from work, family responsibilities, or financial struggles. These can drain your energy and make it harder to stay consistent. But the gym can become your sanctuary, the place where you release stress and rebuild your spirit along with your body. The discipline to keep showing up, even when life is heavy, is what allows setbacks to become stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. Another form of setback is the plateau, when progress seems to stall despite your effort. This can be the most frustrating of all because you are doing the work but not seeing the results. Yet, this is where growth is hidden. A plateau forces you to adjust, to train differently, to push harder, or to refine your nutrition. These moments teach creativity and patience. A setback in the form of a plateau is actually an invitation to level up, to break through barriers you didn't even know were there. Setbacks also reveal your true commitment. When things are going well, it's easy to stay motivated. But when setbacks appear, that's when you discover whether you are chasing temporary results or a permanent transformation. Rebuilding yourself means making a decision that setbacks are not excuses, they are challenges to rise above. The people who rebuild themselves fully are not the ones who avoid setbacks, but the ones who refuse to let setbacks define them. Even emotional setbacks, such as feeling isolated in your journey or misunderstood by others, play a role in shaping your character. Sometimes people around you won't understand why you train so hard, why you eat differently, or why you choose discipline over comfort. This can make you feel alone, but it also gives you a chance to strengthen your resolve. Rebuilding yourself is not about pleasing others, it's about fulfilling the promise you made to yourself. Every setback, big or small, is an opportunity to reset, refocus, and rebuild stronger. You learn how to adapt instead of giving up, how to stay steady instead of panicking. Each time you recover from a setback, you gain confidence that no challenge can stop you. This confidence becomes a shield that carries you not only in the gym, but in every area of life. The truth is, setbacks are proof that you are moving forward. They only appear because you are doing the work, pushing limits, and aiming higher than before. If you never faced setbacks, it would mean you are not challenging yourself. Rebuilding yourself requires embracing setbacks as natural, expected, and even necessary. They are not signs of failure, but signs of growth in progress, shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more unshakable with every step you take. Discipline is the foundation of rebuilding yourself because it is the force that carries you forward when motivation fades away. Motivation is exciting in the beginning, but it comes and goes like the weather. Discipline, however, is steady and reliable. It is what pushes you to get up early, put on your shoes, and head to the gym even when you feel tired or uninspired. Discipline is not about waiting until you feel ready. It is about doing what must be done regardless of how you feel. Without it, progress will always be temporary, but with it, your transformation becomes unstoppable. Discipline shows up in the small choices you make daily. It's in choosing water over soda, whole foods over processed ones, sleep over late night distractions. These little decisions might not seem powerful in the moment, but when repeated consistently, they shape the outcome of your journey. Rebuilding yourself is not about one huge leap. It's about thousands of small disciplined choices that stack up over time to form the person you promised yourself you would become. In the gym, discipline is seen in how you train. It's easy to stop when the weight feels heavy, but discipline tells you to push for one more rep. It's easy to skip stretching or warm-ups, but discipline keeps you committed to protecting your body from injury. It's easy to train only on the days you feel strong, but discipline makes sure you show up on the days you feel weak too. Every time you let discipline lead, you remind yourself that your goals are more important than your excuses. Discipline also protects you from distractions. In a world full of noise, temptations, and shortcuts, it's easy to drift off course. People will offer you quick fixes, magic programs, or easy outs. But discipline teaches you that there are no shortcuts to real growth. It keeps your eyes locked on the long-term vision instead of the temporary pleasures. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is powerful because it keeps you focused when everyone else gets lost in distractions. One of the strongest aspects of discipline is how it helps you overcome procrastination. Many people wait for the perfect time to start, but that time never comes. Discipline demands action now, not tomorrow. It forces you to begin even when circumstances aren't ideal. The truth is, rebuilding yourself doesn't require perfect conditions. It requires consistent action. Discipline is the voice inside that says, do it now, do it anyway, do it until it's done. Discipline also trains your mind as much as your body. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your mental toughness. You start realizing that you are capable of more than you thought, that your limits are often illusions created by your mind. When you carry discipline into your workouts, your studies, your career, and your daily life, you begin to unlock potential you didn't even know existed. Discipline turns you into someone who can endure, persist, and achieve no matter the obstacles. Another way discipline shapes you is by giving you structure. Without it, your training becomes random, your eating becomes careless, and your sleep becomes irregular. Structure created through discipline gives you a system that you can rely on. You don't need to wonder if you'll train today because discipline already decided it for you. You don't need to debate whether to stay up late because discipline has already set your bedtime. This structure removes chaos and replaces it with clarity and direction. Discipline also creates freedom. It might sound strange, but it is true. When you are disciplined, you are free from regret because you know you gave your best. You are free from inconsistency because your actions match your goals. You are free from being controlled by your moods because discipline teaches you to act regardless of emotions. By following discipline, you are not trapped. You are actually liberated from the cycles of starting, quitting, and starting over again. Discipline becomes your greatest ally when the journey feels slow. Progress in the gym often takes weeks and months before it becomes visible, and during that time, doubt can creep in. But discipline keeps you going even when results are not yet showing. It whispers that progress is still happening beneath the surface, that every rep and every set is building something greater. Without discipline, most people quit during this slow phase. But with discipline, you endure long enough to see the results come alive. The beauty of discipline is that it stays with you for life. Once you build it, it doesn't just serve you in the gym. It serves you in every area of your life. The same discipline that makes you train consistently will help you succeed in your studies, career, relationships, and personal growth. Rebuilding yourself through discipline means you are not just shaping your body. You are shaping your character, and that character will carry you through challenges far beyond the walls of the gym. Resilience is one of the most important qualities you build when you rebuild yourself, because the path of growth is never straight, smooth, or easy. There will be days when the weight feels too heavy, when the energy feels too low, and when life itself seems to throw obstacles in your way. Resilience is what allows you to keep going in spite of setbacks. It teaches you that a single bad day, a missed workout, or a moment of weakness does not define your journey. Instead of breaking, resilience helps you bend and bounce back stronger each time life tests you. Resilience is born in struggle. When you are pushed beyond your comfort zone, when you are forced to deal with pain, exhaustion, or disappointment, that is when resilience is being built. Every hard training session where you didn't quit, every time you felt like giving up but finished your set anyway, every morning you dragged yourself to the gym despite feeling drained, all those moments of persistence were lessons in resilience. It is not given to you. It is forged in the fire of adversity. Resilience also shifts the way you see failure. Most people view failure as the end, but resilience teaches you that failure is just feedback. It is not proof that you are weak. but proof that you tried. And in trying, you gain knowledge about what needs to improve. A missed lift, a poor performance, or a setback in progress does not mean you are done. It simply means you now have the chance to come back smarter, stronger, and more determined. Resilience keeps you moving forward when progress feels invisible. The human body doesn't transform overnight, and sometimes weeks of effort seem to bring little to no change. Without resilience, frustration would convince you to quit. But with resilience, you trust the process, you endure the slow phase, and you understand that real transformation takes time. Resilience is the belief that every rep matters even when the mirror hasn't caught up yet. Resilience also strengthens your mind against the negativity of others. When you are on a path of growth, not everyone will support you. Some people will doubt you, mock you, or even discourage you. Without resilience, their words can break your spirit. But with resilience, their doubts fuel you instead of stopping you. You learn to keep your focus on your vision, not on the noise around you. Resilience teaches you that your journey is personal, and no outside opinion can determine your outcome. Resilience helps you handle the inevitable setbacks of life outside the gym. Illness, stress, work, or personal struggles can all interfere with your training and goals. A weak mindset would use these as excuses to quit, but resilience teaches you to adapt instead. If you cannot train heavy, you train light. If you cannot spend hours in the gym, you make the most of the time you have. Resilience ensures that even when life slows you down, it never stops you completely. Resilience gives you the ability to see challenges as opportunities. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, resilience allows you to see them as stepping stones. A difficult workout becomes a chance to test your endurance. A failed attempt becomes a chance to refine your technique. A tough week becomes a chance to prove your commitment. Resilience transforms what others see as problems into powerful opportunities to grow. Resilience also builds humility. It reminds you that success is never about perfection, but about persistence. No matter how strong you become, there will always be moments when you struggle, moments when you feel weak, moments when you fall short. Resilience teaches you to accept these moments without shame and to rise from them without hesitation. It keeps you humble enough to learn and strong enough to continue. Resilience conditions you to endure pain with purpose. The discomfort of training, the soreness of muscles, the fatigue after long sessions. All of these become reminders that growth is happening. Instead of running from pain, resilience teaches you to embrace it, to understand that it is not punishment but preparation. Pain no longer becomes the enemy. It becomes the signal that you are becoming stronger than you were before. Resilience is what transforms the act of rebuilding yourself from a temporary phase into a lifelong strength. Once you have it, you no longer fear setbacks because you know you can recover. You no longer fear challenges because you know you can endure. You no longer fear failure because you know you can rise. Resilience ensures that no matter how many times you are knocked down, you will always stand back up and keep moving forward on the path you chose. Discipline is the foundation of rebuilding yourself because it provides the structure that motivation alone cannot. Motivation is fleeting. It comes when you feel inspired, when you watch a powerful video, or when you achieve small wins. But discipline is steady. It is the decision to show up even when motivation is gone. Discipline is what makes you get up early to train, what makes you follow your diet when cravings call, and what keeps you focused when distractions surround you. Without discipline, effort fades, but with it, your journey becomes unstoppable. Discipline demands that you respect your own word. When you say you will train 4 days a week, discipline holds you accountable to that promise. When you plan to push through a difficult workout, discipline ensures you follow through instead of making excuses. Every time you act with discipline, you reinforce the belief that your word has value. This self-respect becomes fuel, and soon you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop asking if you feel like it, and you start doing it because you said you would. Discipline also teaches you the power of routine. A person who relies on motivation only acts when it feels good, but a disciplined person acts because it is scheduled. When you follow a consistent routine, the gym becomes as natural as eating or sleeping. You no longer debate whether you should go or not. It becomes automatic. This structure protects you from laziness and indecision because the decision has already been made in advance through discipline. Discipline shapes your ability to make sacrifices for a greater goal. It may mean sacrificing comfort by waking up early, sacrificing ease by lifting heavier than you want, or sacrificing indulgence by choosing healthy food over junk. These sacrifices might feel heavy in the moment, but discipline reminds you that they are small prices to pay for the transformation you seek. Discipline helps you see that every sacrifice today is an investment in the stronger version of yourself tomorrow. Discipline also strengthens patience. In a world that promises instant results, discipline reminds you that true change is slow. Muscles don't grow overnight, and strength doesn't appear in a week. Discipline keeps you grounded, ensuring you stick to the process long enough to see results. It teaches you that even when progress feels invisible, your effort is still working beneath the surface, shaping a body and mind that will eventually reveal themselves. Discipline makes you dependable not just to yourself but to others. When people see that you are disciplined in your training, in your nutrition, and in your habits, they begin to trust your word and respect your actions. Discipline reflects character. It shows that you are not swayed by comfort or excuses. This dependability spills into every area of life, making you reliable in work, family, and personal growth. Discipline also develops mental strength because it forces you to act beyond your emotions. There will be days when you feel tired, unmotivated, or distracted. Without discipline, you would skip those days. But with discipline, you act despite your feelings. You learn to separate temporary emotions from lasting commitments. Over time, this mental toughness allows you to handle bigger challenges, both inside and outside the gym. Discipline keeps your goals alive when distractions try to pull you away. Life is full of temptations, social events, entertainment, comfort foods, or moments of laziness. Without discipline, these distractions can derail your progress. But with discipline, you remind yourself of your vision every time you are tempted. You say no to what doesn't serve you because you are committed to what does. Discipline is the shield that protects your goals from being stolen by short-term pleasures. Discipline transforms training from something you have to do into something you choose to do. At first, it may feel like a burden, but with time, discipline builds pride in the act itself. You start to value the process, not just the outcome. You take satisfaction in completing a hard session, in sticking to your plan, and in honoring your commitment. Discipline makes the journey meaningful because it teaches you to love the grind as much as the result. Discipline ultimately gives you freedom. The freedom to trust your own effort, the freedom to live with confidence, and the freedom to shape your life rather than letting circumstances shape it for you. When you are disciplined, you don't wait for the right mood or the right opportunity. You create progress through consistent action. It allows you to control your path, knowing that your results are not left to chance, but built daily through the strength of discipline. Focus is what separates wasted effort from purposeful progress, and in the gym, it is the quality that transforms every repetition into growth. Many people show up physically, but their minds are elsewhere. They go through the motions without truly engaging with the work. Focus means being fully present in each lift, each set, and each movement, treating it as if it were the only thing that matters in that moment. When your attention is sharp, your body follows, and the results multiply because every action is performed with intent. Focus is not just about avoiding distractions. It is about directing your energy toward what truly counts. When you walk into the gym, you carry with you the stresses of daily life, but focus demands that you set them aside and give yourself fully to the task at hand. It is choosing to silence the noise, to put away your phone, to ignore comparisons, and to dedicate your entire being to becoming stronger. The discipline of focus transforms a simple workout into a powerful session of self-mastery. Focus also means knowing your goals clearly and aligning your actions with them. If your goal is strength, you focus on lifting heavier with proper form. If your goal is endurance, you focus on pushing through fatigue with consistency. You see, you drift aimlessly, trying everything but mastering nothing. With focus, you move in a straight line toward your destination, saving energy and accelerating progress because every step is deliberate. When you train with focus, you begin to understand your body on a deeper level. You feel the tension in your muscles, the burn that signals growth, the rhythm of your breath, and the alignment of your form. This awareness prevents injury, improves efficiency, and ensures that every rep counts. Focus sharpens the connection between your mind and body, making training not just physical, but also a mental exercise in awareness and control. Focus also guards your energy. Every day you are surrounded by distractions that demand your attention, but focus allows you to invest your mental and physical strength only where it matters. Instead of wasting energy on comparing yourself to others or chasing shortcuts, you channel it into steady, purposeful work. Focus acts like a magnifying glass. It takes scattered rays of energy and concentrates them until they are powerful enough to create change. Focus builds momentum because it keeps you aligned with the process. A person who trains without focus often loses interest or gives up when results come slowly. But someone who maintains focus stays locked in, knowing that consistency plus concentration eventually leads to transformation. By holding your attention on your goal, you keep moving forward, even when progress is hard to see. Focus fuels persistence by keeping your eyes on the vision, not the obstacles. Focus also strengthens mental resilience. In the middle of a tough set, when your muscles scream and your lungs burn, focus is what allows you to push through instead of giving up. By concentrating on one rep at a time, you break down overwhelming challenges into manageable steps. Focus teaches you not to be distracted by discomfort, but to use it as a signal that growth is happening. This resilience carries over into life, where focus helps you endure hardship and stay committed to your path. Focus is what allows you to block out negativity. There will always be doubters, critics, and voices that tell you it's not possible. Without focus, those voices can break your spirit. With focus, they become background noise, irrelevant to your mission. You stay locked in on your vision, refusing to be shaken by outside opinions, because you know where you are going and why you started. Focus protects your mindset from being poisoned by doubt. Focus also turns time into your ally. Many waste hours in the gym without improvement because their attention drifts. But when you focus, 1 hour of training becomes powerful, productive, and efficient. You maximize every second, making your efforts count more in less time. This efficiency compounds over weeks and months, giving you faster, stronger, and more noticeable progress. Focus teaches you that time is not the issue. It is how you use it that matters. Focus is the bridge between your effort and your results. Without it, effort is scattered, inconsistent, and weak. With it, effort becomes precise, powerful, and transformative. Focus is what keeps you from quitting early, from wasting energy, from chasing distractions. It keeps your eyes on the goal and your mind on the process, ensuring that every ounce of energy you invest builds toward the version of yourself you are determined to create. Discipline is the foundation upon which every transformation in the gym is built, because without it, motivation fades, focus weakens, and consistency collapses. Discipline is not about how you feel in the moment. It is about what you choose to do regardless of your feelings. It is waking up when the alarm goes off even if your body craves more sleep. It is sticking to your workout plan even when you would rather relax. And it is choosing nutritious food even when unhealthy cravings call your name. Discipline is the quiet force that separates those who wish for results from those who actually earn them. Discipline gives structure to your life and removes the need to negotiate with yourself. When you build discipline, you no longer waste energy deciding whether or not you should train today. It is already decided. The gym becomes part of your routine, a non-negotiable commitment just like eating and breathing. By turning your workouts into a disciplined habit, you eliminate the space for excuses and procrastination. Your path becomes clear, and your progress becomes unstoppable because you no longer leave it up to chance or mood. Discipline also teaches sacrifice because true growth always demands it. It might mean sacrificing comfort for sweat, sacrificing temporary pleasures for long-term strength, or sacrificing laziness for action. These sacrifices are not losses, they are investments. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are depositing into the account of your future self. Over time, those deposits add up into the wealth of health, strength, and confidence that cannot be bought. It can only be earned. Discipline builds patience because it reminds you that results never appear overnight. The body changes through a slow, steady process of stress, recovery, and adaptation. Without discipline, impatience will push you to quit before the results arrive. With discipline, you stay committed to the process, trusting that if you do the work day after day, the results will reveal themselves in time. Discipline makes you comfortable with the grind, teaching you that greatness is a marathon, not a sprint. Discipline also sharpens your mind by teaching you control over impulses. When you are disciplined in the gym, you learn to resist the temptation of quitting when it gets hard. And that skill carries into every part of life. You learn to resist distractions when working toward your goals. You learn to delay gratification for bigger rewards. And you learn to master your own emotions instead of being controlled by them. The mental strength built through discipline in fitness becomes a weapon for success in every field. Discipline removes dependency on motivation, because motivation is temporary while discipline is permanent. Motivation might inspire you to start, but only discipline will keep you going when motivation runs out. The people who last in the gym are not the ones who feel motivated every day, but the ones who have disciplined themselves to show up no matter what. Discipline is the anchor that holds you steady when storms of doubt, fatigue, or distractions try to pull you away. Discipline creates freedom because it gives you control over your actions and your time. When you are undisciplined, you live in reaction to your moods and circumstances, constantly pulled in different directions. When you are disciplined, you take command of your choices, and this control creates freedom. The freedom to build the body you want, the freedom to enjoy good health, and the freedom to live with confidence knowing you can rely on yourself to follow through. Discipline builds credibility with yourself because every time you honor your word and do what you said you would do, you strengthen your self-belief. You begin to trust yourself deeply, knowing that you will not quit on your commitments. This credibility spreads into every area of life, your relationships, your career, your personal dreams, because discipline proves that your word has value. When you live disciplined, you stop making promises you cannot keep, and you start living as someone who follows through no matter what. Discipline is what makes average efforts extraordinary, because it multiplies the effect of everything you do. A disciplined person may not always be the most talented or the strongest, but by repeating the right actions day after day, their results eventually outshine those who rely only on bursts of motivation. Discipline compounds results, stacking small victories into major achievements that others can only dream of. It turns ordinary effort into extraordinary success simply because it never stops. Discipline is the ultimate expression of self-control and commitment, the invisible force that drives progress when everything else fails. It is what keeps you in the gym when others give up, what keeps you pushing when your body is tired, and what keeps you aligned with your goals when distractions try to pull you away. Discipline is not glamorous, it is not loud, but it is the reason transformations happen. It is the silent partner of every success story, the backbone of every strong body, and the secret ingredient that rebuilds not just muscles, but the person as a whole. I rebuilt myself because I refused to quit. I rebuilt myself because I chose discipline over comfort. And if I could do it, so can you. The power to rebuild is already inside you. Step into the gym, stay committed, and watch the person you become be stronger than the one you left behind.